You got everybody? Good afternoon. Thanks for coming out. My name is Tom Bowers, and the attorney for China and her son, Daunte Jr. We would definitely, the family wants to thank the entire city for the amazing support at Daunte's funeral. And it's great to see a city coming together, people of all colors and all races coming out to show support. It does show that there is hope for the problems that we've been having in the city and across the nation. There is hope for those problems to be solved one day. It's a great feeling to see that and to support him on his journey home. And now it's time for us to support him on his journey to justice. And it's sad that it appears to be happening over and over again, but hopefully we can get the same result for Daunte, the same result that George Floyd got, and get justice for him and get his killer in jail. Now, the family didn't really get a chance to talk at the funeral, so China would like to read a letter that she has written that talks about Daunte to you all, if just right now. China?
Hi everyone, my name's China Whitaker, and me and Daunte, we had a son together, Daunte Wright Jr., and I had wrote a letter to him, and I just want to read that now.
It's out of your pocket?
It's in the other one. Oh yeah, it is.
Thanks.
Thank you. Daunte, where did you go? Why did you leave? My heart breaks for our son. He's only a year old and without his dad. I remember when he was first born. He scared us. We thought we were going to lose him because he came so early. We continue to pray and ask God to heal him, and he's still here today. I'm sorry you won't get to see his second birthday party. You won't get to witness his elementary years, his high school prom, or even just simple things fathers and sons do. What am I supposed to tell our son when he grows up and asks about you? When I look at his face, it makes me want to cry. He's so amazing, and the fact that somebody took you from him, it leaves me speechless. This feels like a nightmare. Only thing is, it's not a bad dream. It's reality. I want you to know, no matter what, I will always love you. Don't worry. I will make sure baby Daunte knows how much you loved him and how special he was in your eyes. He looks just like you. I am thankful you left a piece of you with me. I really don't know how to feel right now. All I know is that I miss you, and I would do anything for one last hug. It's too bad I wasn't able to say goodbye before you left us. You will always be in my heart, and I will never forget you. Daunte Jr. loves you so much.
It's sad to say goodbye to someone that you loved and the father of your child. It was difficult for her. Yesterday she was pretty emotional and torn up. It's always difficult not to be able to see someone, ever again. The family is in pain. Hopefully the city can heal itself and the family can heal itself, and we can all, go toward a better future for us all. I'd also like to introduce now Tiffany Billions with the African American Human Rights Organization. She does a lot of nonprofit work throughout the nation, and I think she's going to be doing a lot of work here trying to heal the wounds of our nation.
Good evening, everybody. This is a sad time, and I wish we could be here on under happier circumstances. The African American Human Rights Organization is an organization that started out of Dallas. I am the founder, and we basically look at incidences of police brutality and police violence against minorities, especially in the African American communities. The statistics are staggering when you look at the raw numbers. 1 out of every 1,000 African American men born will, according to the statistics, eventually end up being killed by police. And that statistic is actually from the proceedings of National Academy of the Police Council. We've got to do a better job. We talk about COVID and the pandemic, but right now we're in the middle of an epidemic, and that is there's an epidemic on the minority community, an epidemic of police violence, of police brutality, and it has to be addressed and it has to be stopped. And we can't do it by ourselves. It's going to take more than just African Americans to band together and say that this is a problem, right? We're going to have the help of every nationality. The results of the George Floyd verdict shows that not only did African Americans see that something had gone wrong with George Floyd's detainment, but that other nationalities that were on the jury saw that something had gone wrong as well. And once we can admit that there's a problem in our police departments, there's a problem with training, there's a problem with white supremacists being recruited as police officers, then we can adequately and accurately address the issues and the problems of police brutality. Until then, we'll continue to go in circles, we'll continue to bury young men, we'll continue to bury old men at the hands of police violence and brutality. Again, I am Tiffany Billions with the African American Human Rights Organization, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tiffany. I kind of mentioned it earlier, the journey for justice. Now that Daunte's on his journey home to our father, now we can begin to try to get justice for him. And I wanted to make sure I also address a few things that the family had concerns about. One of them, I think there's a police organization here in the state that said that if he would have complied, Daunte, then he'd be alive. You know, and I can't think of any other statement that's a pretty horrible statement to say when somebody passes away. I mean, because everyone is innocent until proven guilty, or we'd like to think, right? And, you know, police officers aren't executioners. You know, so my job is just beginning. Our job is just beginning as a people to make sure that people get due process. People like Daunte get due process, and that it doesn't happen to anyone else's son. So it's time to send the officer that killed him to jail and let justice be done. And to also touch on, like they touched on yesterday at the funeral, change the laws and put things in place to make sure that we can save our youngsters, okay? Because, you know, like I said, everybody deserves due process. And it's almost like, you know, you're looking at executions now. You're looking at modern day lynchings that are caught on camera. You know, strange fruit right in front of you. And it's really disturbing. It's almost numbing when you see the verdict come out. As an African American, I was numb. You kind of expect that it won't go the right way, but when it does, you really don't know how to react because you're not used to getting fair play. But it is something that gives us a breath of fresh air or a sigh of relief to be able to see finally things turning out differently instead of officers walking free. So it's a new day is dawning, and I want to keep it brief, but if you have any questions moving forward for me, then I could answer some of those on behalf of the family. if anybody has any questions. Yes, ma'am. Have they faced have the family faced any death threats? Is that right? I don't want to specifically point those out, but there are some security concerns. Whenever you have an event like this, you get a lot of people who come out, and America is an interesting place. So there are some concerns as far as safety for the family that we're addressing and making sure that we can keep them safe. And I'm not sure, why that happens, but you do have people who support the officer no matter what, and some people, are happy that she killed Daunte. I'll just be honest with you. So I always get a bunch of calls and emails that are pretty, racist, and it's a sad thing to see that, or you'll see comments on social media that are bad or that are nasty. Or like whatever police organization here in the state said, hey, if he complied, that he'd still be alive. I mean, who says that when a mother has just lost her child? I don't know. Sometimes it seems like people don't have hearts, but yes, there have been some threats to the family, and which is disturbing. But hopefully, we can get past that as well and heal this nation. Did anybody else have anything?
Are you happy with the prosecution now? Some community groups are wanting the Attorney General's office to step in and prosecute. Is that something the family would like?
Well, I like to see them moving pretty fast to do things that are right, instead of in other years where they don't release the tapes. They have a smear campaign on the victim. So it's good to see that they're listening to the people of all colors who were disturbed in this city. I saw people of all colors out there with banners and waving at the procession. So I do like to see positive things happening, and I'm seeing some positive things in this state toward justice. And they're making sure that trials are held and that they're fair trials, and that these officers, when they execute somebody in the street, that they're held accountable. So I do like to see that, obviously. So hopefully we can get these laws changed to stop the minor traffic stops from turning into a death sentence, or modern day lynching. You still got it, but it's just in a different form. You understand? Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.
The charge so far is manslaughter, I believe, the second-degree manslaughter.
Okay.
There's been some calls for a tougher charge. Do you support it? Does the family support it?
Well, the family supports a fair and thorough investigation, and for the prosecutors to take a really good look at this and do a really good investigation. So not just taking her word for it, maybe talking to other witnesses to see where her state of mind is and to see if maybe there's a different intent. I'm not a criminal law lawyer in this state, but I do understand that you've got to do a thorough investigation to see if there is a more appropriate charge. You can't just rush to justice, but you can't not do your job and do a thorough investigation either. So it's hard to know what the intent of a police officer is, but even it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that video and tell that she may have known that she had her gun instead of her taser in her hand, right? That just doesn't make any sense for, I haven't investigated all the facts, but from what I'm hearing, if you're a trainer for 20 years, it sounds to me like you'd know better than, if you have your gun or your taser in your hand. Just kind of common sense, right? So we'll leave it up. They've done a good job on George Floyd. They got a good result on that. So I think the family would trust that they'll do a good job on this and come to a fair conclusion. That's all that anybody wants, is a fair conclusion. You've got a jury of your peers, and if that jury finds that she is guilty, then that would give the family some semblance, China and her young son, some semblance of closure. So that would be good. I think that's always, I'm a lawyer, so obviously a civil lawsuit is something that we do to get justice. You can't bring them back, I would do anything to bring him back too, if I could. I'd like to go home, today if he could come back in here, and they wouldn't have to bring a civil lawsuit. So it may be something that we do, but we'll try to open a dialogue with the city and the police departments to see if there's any sort of resolution that could come before that. Because it's painful for a family to have to not only go to the funeral and see him there, laying there, lifeless. That's painful. It's even more painful to have to relive this every single day, not just up until the trial and the verdict, but after that as well. It's painful. And people forget African Americans feel pain too. They love their loved ones. They love their children. They want their children to grow up to be successful. So whatever we can do to get a resolution and get justice for them, then that's what we'll do. I don't think she wants to answer any questions. She let me know that before we came out here. But the family just wants to thank everybody for their support and for the love that they've showed at the funeral, and the love that the majority of people are showing toward Daunte and his life and his child, and the outpouring of support nationwide. It's been mostly positive, and you've got a few negative things, but for the most part, you can see the changes that are coming, and you can see that there is hope for a brighter future, where everyone of all colors can get due process on the street and won't get executed, and can